What up with it? It's the 800 North podcast post game show for the Bears. I want to talk about a few things, man. What I saw, you know what I'm talking about? I want to go over a few of the keys to the game. The first key I had was I wanted to pay attention. I wanted to be focused on the offensive line and the defensive line. What type of progress can we see from them? The second thing I wanted to focus on was Caleb Williams' cadence pre-snap. And the third thing I want to focus on is what the secondary was going to do, how they was going to respond with Jalen Johnson coming back or whatnot. Now, for me, it was a fourth. Are they going to keep having? Are they going to keep shooting themselves in the foot with all these penalties? You know what I mean? Penalties come with coaching. It's like a well-coached team is not going to commit so many penalties. And they had over 100 yards last game in penalty yards. Kept shooting themselves in the foot. Actually, this game now I rarely watch a game where you see second and 30, third and 30. That rarely happens in the game. This new Bears team, it happened 4 times last game where they was third and 25 or more, second and 25 or more. That happened 4 times. And that's just ridiculous. That's I don't know. There's no answers for that. You know what I'm saying? They kept shooting themselves in the foot. I wanted to see them get get the running backs involved. But problem is, offensive line hasn't showed up yet. They stay missing in action, especially the center, Diamond, and the right guard, Jackson. And this game, Donnell Wright had a bad game. I think Donnell Wright had the best game according to PFF last week. And this game, I don't know what the stats is on the line, but what they came out with Donnell Wright was getting blew up. He was getting handed to him. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about post game show or whatever. But first, I saw an improvement in Caleb's decision making. You know what I mean? He was more quick with the ball. It was only a couple times he held on the ball too long. He wasn't always using the flats or whatever as the check downs as a band-aid or whatever. He was actually going downfield, and they connected on some of the blown coverages or whatever. So that was an improvement I like. You know what I mean? The line, like I said, the line was looking bad. Line was looking bad all day. I think they got sacked 4 times. I think it was 4 or 5 sacks on the line, but not just the line looking bad on pass plays. They still haven't opened up a hole for the running game. So with Ben Johnson's offense, you got they works on play action. You know what I mean? It's a play action offense. But if the run game is looking bad as it is right now, it's not going to be a good year. It's not going to be a good year. So defensive wise, I'm still waiting for Sweat to show up, earn his pay. You know what I mean? He looked bad. I think the only time he got pressure was a penalty. You know what I mean? And he got a sack. And I think who was it? Stevenson. He was holding illegal something. I think it was just bad. So it's only flash play that Sweat got. There was a penalty on that play. So yeah. Looking for getting 50 plus points put on your head. The defense looks terrible. Jalen Johnson, he got injured or whatever. Before then, Jalen Johnson had a nice little deflection. He played his tail off. But all in all, defense looked bad. I also want to talk about Pose. I want to talk about Pose, even though he ain't play. But his stamp was on this game. I don't understand how you pick a tight end first in the first round. You pick a wide receiver in the second round, and neither one of them is implemented in the game. Where they at? It's like, what's going on? It's obvious they got talent, but for some strange reason, they ain't got enough talent to get into the game. They ain't got enough talent to make a difference in the game. Luther Burden, what he does, he's just gonna return kicks, a second round pick. He just here to return kicks. Like, I promise you, they could have drafted anybody on both of their lines is the weakest part of the team. The offensive line, defensive line are the weakest sides of the ball. They could have drafted literally an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, either one of them rounds. They could have drafted 2 or 2, both of them rounds. And hopefully, I don't know. It makes no sense to keep drafting these wide receivers and tight ends when you need lines, offensive line, you need a defensive end, you need a defensive tackle. You need people on the line. You need people that's in the trenches. That still confuses me to this day. You know what I mean? Even though the draft was months ago, it makes no sense. And it seemed like Poe's stamp on this game is huge, negatively. It's a negative stamp because I don't see it. I don't see how Loveland might end up being a nice tight end. Maybe after Cole Kmet leave or whatever, he might end up playing out to be a nice tight end. But it was so many things you could have done. Like last year, who was it? Who did they pick last year? I forgot. I know Will McDonald was killing. And they could have had Will McDonald. They picked Ron. Ron was killing it, you know. Ron was doing his thing today. You know what I mean? But you're going to keep drafting wide receivers that high, knowing that you need offensive tackles and you need guards, and you need defensive tackles and you need ends. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. So, all in all, the Bears got a 50-piece party trail on their behinds. So it ain't look good or whatever. They got 50 dumped on their head. You could tell in Caleb's actual body language was he didn't, you know, they was always talking about his body language. Just he was cool, you know, even though it was frustrating to be down to give up 50 points. And for some strange reason, he keeps going for the fourth downs. Like, I get it, but that play when it was 4th and 3, and then they say, "Oh no, it's gonna be 4th and 5." No, you got to go ahead and kick it because you can't even get 5 yards. Your offense haven't been looking good. What makes you think you're gonna get these 5 yards right here? Maybe that would have kept them from getting a half a hundred. You know, half a century mark put on them. So they tried to go for 4th and 5th and 5. Didn't do it. Ended up giving up a touchdown right after that. So it's just wow. The Bears look like Vegas said they was gonna lose. They weren't gonna win. You know, they was gonna be under 500. They're looking about right about now. So Ben Johnson got to iron some things out before next game. You know what I'm talking about? So now that's a little recap of the Bears post game. You know, it's kind of frustrating. But yes, 800 North Sports. Tune in. We gonna we might start including a little fantasy. I don't know. We gotta, you know, I know everybody got a little fantasy squads. We might start talking about fantasy coming up in the next week. But yeah, stay tuned, man. 800 North Sports. We don't only talk about Bears, you know what I mean? So we got the Bulls coming up, preseason about to start. They in training camp or whatever. So we're gonna have enough coming up. New season, new hope. You know what I mean? People are like, why you want to watch the Bears, man? You know, it's still hope. They got a new offense. They got a talented quarterback. You know, we still got hope. But yeah, we signing off. Like, subscribe, 800 North Podcast. It's Thomas Cam. I'ma holler at you. Yep.